You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and toss it onto your desk. Most of it is just copper nickel clutter, the kind of loose change you'd spend on a coffee without a second thought. But what if one of those coins was hiding a secret? A secret worth hundreds, or even thousands of times its face value. We've all heard the legends of the rare find in a grocery store register. But when it comes to the 2002 Washington quarter, the reality is a fascinating blend of history, modern manufacturing, and the relentless hunt for the one-in-a-million error that turns a simple quarter into a collector's dream. To understand why people are obsessed with these 2002 Denver minted quarters, we have to travel back to the turn of the millennium. This was the golden age of the 50-state quarters program. For the first time in history, the American public wasn't just using quarters, they were collecting them. Every few months, a new design would drop, turning every bank visit and every cash transaction into a scavenger hunt. The 2002 series featured states like Tennessee, Ohio, Louisiana, Indiana, and Mississippi. Millions of these coins were churned out by the Denver Mint, marked with that tiny, elusive D. On the surface, they look like standard, mass-produced currency. But in the world of numismatics, the mass-produced aspect is exactly what makes the rare anomalies so incredibly valuable. When you see a video or a post claiming a specific coin is worth a fortune, it usually isn't because of the date on the front. It's because of a moment when the massive, high-speed machines at the mint slipped up. Imagine millions of planchets, the blank metal discs, racing through the presses at impossible speeds. Under that kind of pressure, even the best engineering in the world leaves room for the extraordinary. We're talking about missing clad layer errors, where the outer nickel-copper skin of the coin is absent, revealing the raw, reddish copper core beneath. Or off-center strikes, where the design is stamped completely out of alignment, creating a piece that looks like it belongs in an art gallery rather than a wallet. Some coins are struck on the wrong planchet entirely, perhaps a dime blank finding its way into a quarter press. These aren't just coins anymore. They are historic accidents. The 2002 quarters, especially those from the Indiana or Mississippi issues, have become a focal point for hunters. An uncirculated, pristine 2002 quarter is a nice addition to a folder, but a mint-state graded specimen with a rare error? That is where the stakes change. A coin that feels like a quarter can suddenly carry the weight of a high-end investment piece. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for that perfect strike, that rare double die, or a surface free of the tiny scratches that define the circulated life. But here is the million-dollar question. How do you know if you've got something special? It's not just about the D mint mark. It's about the details. Grab a magnifying glass or a digital microscope and look at the lettering. Is the "In God We Trust" crisp? Or does it look like a blurry shadow? That could be a double die. Is the rim of the coin perfectly consistent? Or does it look like it was clipped by a giant pair of scissors? That's a clipped planchet error. The thrill of this hobby isn't just about the money. It's about the connection to the process. Each time you hold a 2002 quarter, you are holding a piece of American history from a year that felt like the beginning of a new century. You are holding a product of incredible industrial precision, and occasionally a monument to human error. So, the next time you find a 2002 quarter at the bottom of your center console, don't just spend it. Look at it. Flip it over. Consider the hundreds of millions of its siblings out there, and ask yourself, is this just another quarter, or is this the one that beat the odds? If you've ever found a coin that made your heart skip a beat, or if you're currently hunting for that legendary error, let me know in the comments below. What's the weirdest, rarest, or most confusing coin you've ever found in your change? I'll be reading the stories, and who knows, you might just inspire the next treasure hunt. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into the hidden world of the coins in your pocket. Until next time, keep hunting. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of loose change, and glance at the quarters. Most are just silver-colored discs, destined to pay for a parking meter or a gumball. But tucked between them might be a piece of metal that holds a secret, a small, unassuming coin from 2017 with a tiny letter P, stamped right next to George Washington's stoic profile. On the surface, it's just another quarter from the America the Beautiful series. But for those in the know, That P from the Philadelphia Mint isn't just a mark of origin. It's a breadcrumb leading to one of the most exciting hunts in modern numismatics. We live in an age where treasure hunting has moved from the bottom of the ocean to the back of our couch cushions. You don't need a map or a metal detector to find something remarkable. You just need an eye for the details that everyone else overlooks. In 2017, the United States Mint released a series of quarters honoring national parks and historic sites, ranging from the effigy mounds in Iowa to the sweeping vistas of the Ozark National Scenic Riverways. Millions of these were struck. Most flowed through the economy, traded millions of times, and eventually lost their luster. But some, those rare errors, have become the holy grails for modern coin collectors. Think about the sheer scale of production. When a machine stamps hundreds of millions of coins, things go wrong. It's inevitable. A die cracks under the pressure of striking thousands of blanks. A planchet, the blank disk of metal, misaligns, creating a skewed, off-center image. Sometimes the metal itself behaves strangely, leaving behind a cud, a blob of raised metal where the die has broken away. These aren't just mistakes. They are unique, one-of-a-kind artifacts of the minting process. Imagine finding a 2017 P quarter where Washington looks slightly off, or where the landscape on the reverse, say the Frederick Douglass home or the Ellis Island scenery, appears doubled, as if you're looking at it through a lens that won't quite focus. To the untrained eye, it's a damaged coin. To a collector, it's a masterpiece. These errors are the ghost stories of the numismatic world. They are the anomalies that defy the rigid, automated perfection of the U.S. Mint. But why does this matter to you? Because there is a thrill in the hunt that transcends the face value of 25 cents. There is a primal satisfaction in discovering something that shouldn't exist. When you find a 2017 P quarter with a distinct die crack or a rare strike anomaly, you aren't just holding a quarter, you're holding a story. You're holding a physical record of a specific moment in time at the Philadelphia Mint, a moment where the gears slipped and history was made in the most unexpected way. The value of these coins isn't always in the silver content, which in these standard-clad quarters is negligible. It's in the scarcity. While millions were produced, the number of coins with significant, authentic errors is a tiny fraction of that total. When you factor in the condition of the coin, what we call grading, the price can skyrocket. A perfect, uncirculated coin, or one with a striking, visible error, can jump from 25 cents to 50, 100, or even more in the right auction. It's not just about the money, it's about the scarcity. It's about being the one person out of thousands who stop to look. The America the Beautiful series itself is a journey through the heart of the nation. It highlights places that define the American identity, the fight for civil rights at the Frederick Douglass site, the prehistoric history of the effigy mounds, the natural beauty of the Ozarks. Each coin is a miniature monument. When you find one of these, you're connected to the history it represents. You're holding a piece of Iowa, a piece of Indiana, or a piece of the District of Columbia. So, the next time you're sorting through your change, don't be so quick to dump it into the jar. Take a moment. Look at that P mint mark. Turn the coin over. Is the strike clean? Are there lines where there shouldn't be? Is there a piece of metal that looks like a small, raised anomaly? You might be holding a quarter that tells a story no other coin can tell. The world of coin collecting is often painted as a pursuit for the elite, for those with deep pockets and high-end microscopes. But the truth is, the best hunts happen in the most mundane places. It happens in the grocery store checkout, the car wash change, or the forgotten piggy bank in the closet. The treasure is out there, moving through our hands every single day. The only difference between a collector and everyone else is the choice to pay attention. What about you? Have you ever found a coin in your change that looked just a little bit off? Have you ever spent time looking for those hidden, rare treasures in your own wallet? Maybe it's time to start, because there is something undeniably powerful about knowing that in a world of billions of identical mass-produced items, you found the one that broke the mold. That is the thrill of the hunt. That is the magic of history, waiting to be found in your own pocket. Keep searching, stay curious, and never underestimate the value of what's right in front of you. Who knows what you might find in your next handful of change? Imagine holding a tiny piece of metal in the palm of your hand, A coin that looks just like the change you might receive at a grocery store, yet it holds a secret worth nearly $1 million. We aren't talking about ancient Roman gold or a pirate doubloon pulled from the sandy floor of the Atlantic. We are talking about a modern, everyday object, a 2020 Washington quarter, that managed to slip past the eagle-eyed quality control inspectors at the United States Mint. This isn't just pocket change. It is a modern-day treasure, a glitch in the system that transformed a 25-cent piece into a legendary rarity. The year was 2020. The world was standing still, but inside the minting facilities of the United States, machines were churning out millions of coins as they always had. This was the era of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a series that celebrated national parks and historic sites across the country. Specifically, this story centers on the quarter honoring the Marsh-Billings Rockefeller National Historical Park in Vermont. It was supposed to be a routine production, one of millions destined to circulate, be spent on gum, dropped in fountains, or tossed into piggy banks. But somewhere between the blank metal planchet entering the press and the finished coin being ejected, chaos struck. You see, the process of minting a coin is a feat of engineering precision. Blanks are heated, struck under immense pressure, and verified by automated machines. For an error to occur, everything has to go wrong in a very specific, almost impossible way. In this case, we are talking about a mule error, a term that sends shivers of excitement down the spine of every serious numismatist. A mule is a coin struck with two dies that were never meant to be paired together. It's like finding a car with the engine of a Ferrari and the body of a minivan. It simply shouldn't exist, and yet, there it is. The 2020 W Washington quarter mule error involves the pairing of the obverse die, the side featuring George Washington, with an incorrect reverse. While the details of how this specific anomaly occurred remain shrouded in the technical complexities of minting floor logistics, the result was a coin that defied the laws of mass production. When the first examples surfaced, the numismatic community went into an absolute frenzy. Collectors who had spent years hunting for rare 19th-century silver suddenly found themselves frantically searching through rolls of brand-new, modern quarters. Why does a coin like this matter? It's not about the silver content, because there is none. It's not about the age, because it's practically fresh off the press. It's about the thrill of the hunt and the story of the mistake. Collectors are drawn to errors because they represent a human moment in a mechanical world. Every time you find an error coin, you are essentially finding a moment where the perfect machine failed and a unique, one-of-a-kind object was created. It reminds us that even in our highly digitized, automated lives, accidents can still lead to miracles. The rarity of this coin is what elevates it from a curiosity to a jackpot. Estimates suggest that only a handful of these particular specimens made it into circulation before the error was caught and the supply was intercepted. We are talking about a scarcity that rivals the most coveted historical artifacts. When one of these goes to auction, the bidding war is intense. Serious investors and hardcore collectors know that they aren't just buying a quarter. They are buying a piece of minting history, a holy grail of the modern era. Think about the journey of such a coin. It was minted, packaged in a bag, shipped to a bank, and then likely handed over in a simple transaction. The person who originally received that quarter in their change probably had no idea they were holding a small fortune. They might have used it to pay for a parking meter or lost it in a couch cushion. It's a humbling thought, isn't it? How many of us have handled a coin, looked at it for a fleeting second, and tossed it away, never knowing we might have been holding a life-changing amount of wealth? The fascination with the Washington quarter goes deeper than just the errors. George Washington has been the face of our quarter since 1932, a design that has seen more hands and traveled more miles than perhaps any other image in American history. It is a symbol of stability. When you see that familiar profile, you expect the status quo. The 2020 error disrupts that sense of comfort. It forces us to look closer. It teaches us that if we want to find treasure, we have to stop seeing the world as mundane and start looking at the details that everyone else ignores. This coin also highlights the incredible detective work involved in modern coin collecting. Gone are the days when you needed a map to buried treasure. Today, the hunt happens at banks, in coin-counting machines, and at local retailers. It requires patience, a sharp eye, and a deep understanding of what to look for. The people who discovered these error quarters were the ones who took the time to inspect their change, the ones who didn't just spend their money without a second glance. They are the modern treasure hunters, and their rewards are tangible, high stakes, and deeply satisfying. As we look back at the landscape of numismatics, we see a shift. While ancient coins will always hold a place of honor, modern rarities are becoming the new frontier. They are accessible, they are relatable, and they carry a contemporary story that we can all understand. The 2020 W Washington quarter error is a beacon for those who believe that lightning can strike twice, and that even in the modern age, the unexpected is still possible. So, the next time you empty your pockets or check your change, take a moment. Don't just shove those coins into a jar. Look at them. Look at the date, look at the mint mark, and look at the design. You never know when you might be staring at the most valuable quarter in the world. The history of the future is being written in our pockets every single day. The real question is, are you paying close enough attention to notice when a small piece of metal becomes a legend? What would you do if you found one of these in your change tomorrow? Would you keep it as a trophy of your sharp eyes? Or would you let the highest bidder take it home? The hunt is always on, and the next discovery is just waiting for someone who knows exactly what to look for. Keep searching, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a simple quarter. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of change, and glance at a quarter. It's just pocket lint, right? Just another piece of metal destined for a parking meter or a vending machine. But what if I told you that the quarter in your hand might be a silent witness to a revolution in American coinage? What if that 2022 Washington quarter, the one that looks slightly different than the ones your grandfather carried, is actually a modern-day treasure waiting to be discovered? For nearly a century, George Washington's gaze remained fixed to the left. He was the stoic, unchanging face of our currency. But in 2022, everything shifted. The United States Mint broke a 90-year tradition, turning Washington's profile to the right and launching the American Women Quarters program. This wasn't just a design change. It was a total reimagining of who and what we honor on our money. This program, authorized by Congress, set out to celebrate trailblazing women who shaped our history. We're talking about the poets, the astronauts, the activists, and the stars who carved paths where there were none. When the first 2022 quarters began circulating, they carried the weight of history on their reverse sides. Maya Angelou, the first black woman featured on U.S. currency. Dr. Sally Ride, the first American woman to soar into the vacuum of space. Wilma Mankiller, the first woman to lead the Cherokee Nation. These aren't just coins. They are portable monuments. But here is where the story gets really interesting for the treasure hunters among us. While millions of these coins were minted, with some designs hitting hundreds of millions, the numismatic world was set ablaze by the unexpected. You see, when you produce hundreds of millions of coins, the machines move fast. They are precise, but they aren't perfect. And in that imperfection, we find the holy grails of modern collecting. Have you ever heard of Drooling George? It sounds like a strange urban legend, but it's a real, verified mint error. On some of these 2022 quarters, a tiny die chip, a microscopic flaw in the stamping tool, leaves a trail of metal extending from Washington's mouth. To the casual observer, it's nothing. To a collector, it's a stroke of luck that can turn a 25-cent coin into a piece worth hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. Then there's the nesting bird error, where a die crack creates an extra twig in the bird's beak on the Maya Angelou design. It transforms a standard piece of currency into a unique, accidental work of art. These errors are the ghosts in the machine, reminders that even in the age of high-speed automation, the human element and the chaos of production still reigns supreme. But the real magic happens when you look at the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a quarter design being struck on a smaller, thicker nickel blank. It's physically impossible, yet it happens. These are the unicorns of the hobby. We've seen them sell for over $10,000 at auction. These aren't just coins. They are physical evidence of a massive, systematic failure that somehow escaped the heavy scrutiny of the mint. They are the stories of the coins that weren't supposed to exist. So why does this matter to you? Because the hunt is still on. These coins aren't locked away in museum vaults or hidden in private collections in Switzerland. They are in your couch cushions, in your glove compartment, and in the tip jar at your local coffee shop. When you look at a 2022 quarter now, don't just see a quarter. Look at the obverse. Notice how George is facing the right, signaling a new era. Look at the reverse, the intricate, beautiful tributes to the women who built this country. And then, take a second look. Is there a faint line by the mouth? Is the design slightly off-center? Is the weight just a little bit different? History isn't just written in books. It's minted in copper and nickel. We are living through a period of numismatic history that future generations will be scrambling to complete. The American Women Quarters program is a 4-year, 20-coin marathon, and every single one of them is a snapshot of our culture, our struggles, and our triumphs. The next time you're at a checkout line, take that extra moment to inspect your change. You might be holding a piece of history that's worth far more than its face value. You might be holding the very coin that starts your own legendary collection. What's the most surprising thing you've ever found in your pocket change? Have you ever actually searched for errors, or have you just been spending history without even knowing it? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden world of modern treasures, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. We're just scratching the surface of what's hiding in plain sight. Keep your eyes peeled, because you never know what you're going to find next.